These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Wednesday, December 20th. We are here the day of the Celtics-Kings game. We're not going to go over the Celtics-Kings game yet, however, because, well, it hasn't happened. And so we are living in the past, technically. And so we have to go over that game. We're here after the Celtics lost to the Warriors on Tuesday night. Brutal way to start out the road trip. If you want our full recap on that, check out the YouTube channel and all podcast platforms. We posted it in both places. Make sure you check that out and get our thoughts there. Also, just posted an edition of Talkin' C's with Bobby Kravitsky of SI Media Group. So go check that out as well. That dropped last night before the Kings game. A little preview of the Kings and some recap of the Warriors. Some stuff we covered in the recap ourselves. It's also some new stuff. However, before we get to the Celtics-Kings recap, which is going to be probably the bulk of the Celtics section of this podcast, we have some popcorn to give away, Sam. We have some stuff to give away.
I just killed my bag of dill pickle. You can see this is a very good product because it's empty. If it sucked, it would just be sitting there and I wouldn't have eaten all of it in the last couple days. So fine product. You always want to enter by commenting or emailing us what's popping, because you're essentially going to get a free bag and you can choose from over 60 flavors. The stuff rules. If you want something sweet, they have that. Salty, spicy. They have seasonal stuff. It's awesome. I got a dark chocolate covered strawberry flavored popcorn at the mall. It is a fine product, let me tell you.
Make sure to comment what's popping on the podcast. Only 4 entrants today. So, I mean, Pete,
today was
UFC,
the day.
Trent, and Chris, they have a good spot. Good chance to win this. So make sure you comment what's popping to get your name entered on the wheel for next podcast. Remember, if you've already won, you can't win again. Apologies. Go buy the popcorn, though. Still buy the popcorn. So let's take a spin. Let's see who's getting some popcorn today. All 4 of these guys have commented multiple times. So they're itching to get themselves some popcorn. And it'll be Trent.
Cook.
Always comment for some popcorn. Trent, you will be getting yourself some popcorn today. We'll get your details. Make sure to send us an email, at hbtcpod@gmail.com with your phone number, name, and email address, and we'll get you hooked up with some popcorn. But without further ado, let's throw it over to our future selves for the recap of the Celtics-Kings game.
Hope I'm not mad as hell.
All right. Thank you to our past selves to throwing it over to us, who are, as Sam prayed for, much happier than we were this time 24 hours ago. The Celtics picked up a massive win over the Sacramento Kings, taking them down by a score of, why can't I see the score on NBA.com? Hold.
It was
144 to 119. I got there eventually. Just a complete and utter domination. They went blow for blow in the first quarter, and then the second quarter was sort of even. And then in a complete twist of events, which I will say before we really get into it, good third quarter against the Warriors, regardless of the outcome. Another amazing third quarter in this one tonight. So at least they're making some progress on that. And then just absolutely reamed the Kings in the second half of the game. I mean, they lost the first quarter by 3, and then they won the second and third by 11 and 15 respectively. Like,
yeah,
it was just, damn, De'Aaron Fox making a ton of tough shots. You know what? Never mind. See you later. We're just going to make everything. We're going to switch up the defense, clamp up, and I thought they did pick up the defensive intensity and guard the perimeter much better past the first quarter, even though some of it was just tough shot making. But this was exactly what the Celtics needed to do after that loss in Golden State.
Yeah, this was a big spot for the Celtics to re-earn my respect. And what did they do? They made me regret staying up to watch this game through the first quarter. And then after that, they figured it out and they played serious. You had really good outputs from 5-6 different guys where, I mean, even Hauser, 4 of 6 as a starter, 2 of 4 from 3 for 10 points. Pretty solid. In the past, he hasn't been very good as a starter. It's something you talked about in the pregame show, but it was good to see him knock down a couple threes. Then to get into the real fun, Jaylen Brown continues to be fantastic. Jaylen 28, 6, and 5. No turnovers and over 50% from the field. You know what's sick about Jaylen Brown is he was didn't make any threes, but he only took 3. He didn't take 10.
You know what I was gonna say this last night, and I never did, which I regret now because it would have translated. Like, it does feel like Tatum should probably learn from Brown's shot profile a little bit. Like,
yeah, it's like,
for
hey, maybe just don't take 10 threes. Like, I don't mind if Tatum takes difficult shots, but just take them from the spots that you're good from.
Sure.
Like,
Sure.
Tatum had moments. I'll go back to the Pacers game when they failed to close out in the fourth quarter because they couldn't get stops. Tatum was the one that was the driving force behind their offense, keeping them in the game. He made tough middies. Like, that's fine, dude. That's his shot. But I don't need to see fall away 3. I don't need to see 10 threes from Tatum. But to get back to positives, I just had to, throw some strays in his direction because that's all probably we're going to say about Tatum. But Porzingis gave Scal a moment of excitement when he turned his ankle, but then turned up. He finished points. He exploded in the third quarter. He was a big part of their onslaught of the Kings there. He was efficient, 7 of 11. He gets to the free throw line at a very high rate, made 7 of 8 of them, and the man was just blocking everybody. 6 blocks. He might have had 7. They took one away from him. What a Porzingis game. And then I'll let you talk about Derrick White, but quick shout out to Holiday for a 21 and 10 double-double on 7 of 13, 4 of 6. He was really in near triple-double with 8 rebounds. He was really a good, hoss on offense in the first half.
He was.
He might be better at step-back threes than Tatum.
Yes, I don't think that's out of line. I will say a couple defensive lapses for Holiday in the first quarter. Pritchard was also good. We'll get to it all. A couple defensive lapses where Holiday left his guy to play free safety a little bit, but great overall game from him. Great recovery. This man, Derrick White, I love him. He is everything that I love about basketball. He's had maybe one bad game this season. I think it was the Memphis game or the Charlotte game. There was one game where he was kind of like meh, like he had a few turnovers, couldn't hit shots. He never makes the wrong play. He almost like it is always doing exactly what you need him to do. He is like amazing at finishing around the rim. The way he contorts his body, you call him a shapeshifter. That's exactly what he is. He shoots 39% on pull-up threes this season. He's taken over 50. I looked up that stat during the game. He is nasty at catch and shoot threes. He is nasty now at deep threes. He takes them motherfuckers from so far behind the line and they go in. He had 7 assists in this game. He had 3 blocks. That bet would have hit if I had made it. Like he's an all-star. Like I don't know how you can watch basketball and not think that this is one of the most impactful players in the league. I think he might impact winning more than anybody else on the Celtics. And that is crazy. They have, for as much as he struggled, and we can joke, blah, 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 like Tatum is an MVP caliber player. Jaylen Brown is an all-NBA player. Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis have both been all-stars. Nobody impacts winning more on the Celtics than Derrick White. Going into the season, I wrote an article that said, don't forget about Derrick White. I wrote it on October 13th. He has improved. Let me pull up my tweet. Sorry, I'm fired up. I love him.
To Jack's point, Derrick White, low of the starters with plus 16, lowest of the starters.
Fuck you. He is. Oh wait, did I not end up tweeting it? Why can't I find it? Regardless, Derrick White this season. The Celtics added 2 All-Stars, correct? 2 All-Stars, Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, and everyone expected, everyone will probably take a step back. They'll take a breather. They'll reduce their roles for the greater good of the team. Derrick White has increased year over year, last year to this year, has increased points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, steals per game, blocks per game, PER, defensive and offensive box plus minus, win shares per. He is unequivocally better in every single category. And the Celtics are awesome because of it. I think they're 1-2 with him out. And so it's obviously a small sample size, but when Derrick White is in the game, good things happen. That's what the plus minus tells you. He leads the Celtics in plus minus. He finished this game against the Kings with 28 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, 3 blocks, only 1 turnover, shot 10 of 13 from the field and 6 of 9 from 3 as I hiccup.
That's how you take 9 threes in a game, baby.
He is he's an all-star. He has to be an all-star. If he's not an all-star this season, All-Stars is just a stat award. And maybe that's what it is, right? Maybe that's what it is.
I mean, the All-Stars game is the fakest thing ever.
Sure. But the coaches vote for the bench. If you are a coach and you watch the Celtics play basketball, Jason Tatum, Derrick White. Like
It might be Derrick White. This
you
man
might be
Tatum's been
right.
ass, dude. I
Like,
don't know what to tell you. I
Derrick
can't stop
White,
making fun of him. It's too easy.
Derrick White is an all-star. I'm gonna keep pushing it. I'm gonna write about it in the next 2 days. He didn't even have obviously 28 and 7 is a great stat line, but it's not like he put up 50, right? It's just everything you watch him do in the game is holy shit. Look, bro, he saw Steph Curry make a ridiculous 3 over him, then he just chucked one up from the corner and it went in tonight. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Everything he
That was
does.
the Jaylen got blocked and then White just
Yeah.
shot it to the moon, dude.
Everything he does is in the name of winning, and it's phenomenal. I'll shut up. But I'm juiced.
No, I mean,
juiced.
you have good reason to be juiced. 1, that's your guy. 2, he had everybody's dream game. He only missed 3 shots on his way to 28 points on 13 looks, and he's just excellent. He did everything. This was a prime example of the shapeshifter Derrick White game where Tatum was out, so he just stepped up and made all his shots, got to the rim. He took 9 threes. He made all of his shots from inside the arc. He got to the rim well. He finished the half with a 6 spin move to seal off the defender and then just made a really tough layup. I'm happy with Derrick White. I mean, he's exceeded all expectations this year. He's taken the major leap like you talked about, and he's proven to be one of the most important players on this team. It's just so funny because it feels like they have a zillion important guys. Of course, you're going to be like Tatum is an important guy. He's the guy. But then Jaylen Brown has gotten his feet under him after kind of a shaky start. Porzingis, every time he plays, just about is unstoppable. They just don't play through him at all times, but the man just turns
That
around,
third
doesn't
quarter?
have to jump, and puts the ball a foot over his head and just flicks it in. And then you
Yeah.
have Drew Holiday, who's been the most under the radar because he's literally not being asked to do anything on offense except for the occasional catch and shoot. Tonight he got a little extra work and he had 20 points. But Derrick White, he has been consistently doing everything. He can be the catch and shoot guy, but again, tonight he was able to penetrate, create shots. He had 7 assists. He is doing everything. This is a great 3 blocks. This is a great Derrick White game. It's been a good Derrick White back-to-back. I'm excited to see what he does in LA these next 2 games. And I really hope he does build a case for himself, if not for the All-Star game, for some kind of major recognition, whether that's all NBA, all defense, maybe most improved. Most improved shout for Derrick White. Jack, what do you think?
I love this guy. I love him so much. I'm looking at his games. He's had 3 games this year, excuse me, below 10 points. Other than that, the last 2 weeks, 21, 18, 30, 17, 14, 19, 10, 30, then 28 tonight. Blocks, he's had 1, 1, 2, 2, 0, 1, 3, 3, 3. He's had 3 blocks in 3 straight games. I truly believe that Derrick White might be the most complete, at least role player in the NBA. He is everything you want on your basketball team. He would fit. He is Alex Caruso plus $1 million, right? Everyone's like, oh, Alex Caruso, this defender, this, yeah, right. And I think Alex Caruso deserves all that praise for the impact he makes. But Derrick White is, if you gave Alex Caruso the ability to create his own shot, hit threes at a consistent 40% clip, including step backs, and everyone came into the season saying, this is, I think, the lead into my article that I wrote before the season. Everyone was coming into the season hyped because they upgraded hypothetically from Marcus Smart, right? They got Marcus Smart plus in Drew Holiday. They got all defensive guard who shot 40% from deep and could create his own shot. They already had that on the roster, and I wrote that, and he's showing that. I think before the season, I said Derrick White was going to average 15, 5, and 5. Sorry, it's 16, 4, and 5 right now. Sue me. Pretty close. And he's doing it at 48, 41 splits, and those are going to go up after tonight. Everything he touches turns to gold right now. He can do no wrong, and that's not a product of him being hot. That's a product of him constantly doing the correct thing on the basketball court. Derrick White is the player that every single basketball fan in the world should want to be. Like D'Lo remember when D'Lo was like, I want to be Derrick White, right? And like everyone was like, haha. If you are growing up trying to be in the league, you need to be like Derrick White. And I mean that so seriously. Like if you can be half of Derrick White, you will be a legitimate NBA. Like he is the mold. He is everything anybody trying to get into league should want to be if you're on the fringes, right? If you're not some top tier prospect who's going to be a Jason Tatum or Kevin Durant, you should want to be Derrick White, shooting 42% from three and playing elite defense. That is all teams want. And then you act like I can't, and I'm obviously I know you love Josh Richardson, but I can't believe there were truly people who were completely out on this trade. I know you like Josh. You obviously were in on the trade. It was just like, oh, Josh sucks.
I didn't really care. It was just like, damn, that sucks. That guy was cool.
But like there were legitimately people that were like, nah, this trade sucks, blah, blah, blah. But like he has exceeded all of those expectations in these 2.5 years. Like Derrick, I can't explain it. Like watching him every night is like I was smiling the whole fucking game. I'm just sitting there like a little kid, like, oh, look at him, look at the three. Like it's everything that anybody should ever want to be who plays basketball. Like that is who people should want to be. Like in the most serious sense. Like he does everything correctly.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action, NFL. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including you got spreads, you got your player props, you got over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Over the last 7 games, so this is after the Pacers game.
Okay.
Derrick White, 7 games played, 21.1 points on 54.2, 49.2, 87.5% from the line. Then 4.6 assists, 4.3 rebounds, 1.7 steals and 2 blocks per game. Pretty crazy stats. Like efficient splits. The defensive numbers are the crazy ones. And to put that in perspective, he's third on the team in scoring in that span. But to the Celtics' credit, they have 4 guys, Porzingis, who's only played 5 of those games, just around 20. Porzingis is at 19.8, so we'll round it up to 20. But they've had a legitimate 4 20-point-per-game scorers who have all been efficient. Like even Porzingis, Jack, we talked about him taking a dip 3-point wise.
Mm-hmm.
The man over the last 5 appearances in the 7-game span, he sat out 2 games. 42.3% from 3. Pretty fire. Like, awesome. You know what sucks is the efficiency. I really only looked at this split stretch because I was curious how Jaylen had bumped up his free throw percentage.
Yeah.
If you're wondering, 88% over this span. Good
Huge.
for him. But both him and Tatum. Jaylen 31.4, Tatum 30.8% from 3. They both could do a little bit better. Tatum 40% from the field, real bad.
He's been rough lately. He's struggled. He's struggled a lot. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Derrick White. I could talk about Derrick White for the entirety of this podcast, so I won't. But he is. Let me see. He is 31st in the NBA in blocks right now. He has 25 blocks right now this season. That is more than Al Horford. That's more than Onyeka Okongwu. That's more than Jarrett Allen. That's more than Jokic. That's more than Vooch. That's more than like he's a legitimate center. Like he's shot blocking like a center. Anyways, let me stop about Derrick White because like I said, I'll go on for 30 minutes. Other guys who played well. Peyton Pritchard, we mentioned it. He had 24 and 4 in this one. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 of 12, 6 of 11 from 3. He was lights out on a night where the Celtics really needed him to be. He was awesome. And then the entire bench mob was great. Nemish Keita only shot 3 of 8, but he grabbed a lot of those offensive rebounds on his own, 4 offensive rebounds. He had 6 and 8 tonight. O'Shea Brissett was also good. He got 16 minutes. He had 3 points, but he was killing the glass. He had 5 rebounds,
Yes.
2 offensive, and both of his offensive rebounds directly led to threes, which was huge at a time the Celtics were really turning the tide. So he was great. And Sam Hauser with a little bounce back here, only took 4 threes, but he was 2 of 4 on those. So that was good to see him get back in the make column.
So
yeah,
I would sure love it if like Hauser and Pritchard could have a really good game at the same time.
Hauser
Hauser
didn't
was
have a bad
solid,
game.
but like, did it really feel like Hauser was great tonight?
I thought he played okay defense. I just don't think the shots were there for him. I don't think he was
know what
bad.
I mean? Like, it didn't really feel like he was like the dominant player we had seen over the last 2 weeks up until yesterday.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not like trying to shit on him. I'm just like, it is funny.
I was gonna
like,
say I don't
Pritchard-
expect Hauser to have it every night.
Pritchard's finally like playing well the last couple games, and now like Hauser sucks. It's just how it's gone all year. Like he had missed 11 straight threes up until he made one today. So.
They've had some big games together.
What, one?
Cleveland. Hauser had 11 and Pritchard had 21.
I guess that's similar to tonight.
I don't know. I'm not. I know what you're saying. It is funny how like
it just feels like they can't like just connect for like one big one, just like a big bench boys game.
Yeah.
But I do want to shout out O'Shea Brissett. O'Shea Brissett,
yeah,
kind of starting to impress me. O'Shea Brissett, somebody I think that may wind up getting some fingerprints on some Celtics wins down the road here, because like you said, he's all over the glass. He's played really well in his last 3 appearances. He had the big game against the Magic. He had double digits. Yesterday, he had 6 like straight points in the first half and then didn't see the floor again. Had a brief stint in the third. And then tonight, only has 3 points, only took the 1 shot, and it was a 3. How about that? Made a 3. Looked pretty comfortable. He just pulled it. If he can be consistent from 3, oh man, that would rule. I think they just need to keep working him.
He made one tonight.
What I'm saying is like I think shooting is something I truly believe can be fixed in everyone.
I agree.
Just keep working with the man, because besides that, you have a real quality player. Like he could be Jay Crowder. If he's making threes, he could be Jay Crowder, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Imagine that off your bench. That'd be great. That would be the buyout guy everyone's looking for. O'Shea Brissett. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was great in this game. Like I said, those 2 rebounds and assists he had were at huge points in the game. He's been great. He played well against the Warriors too in his brief stints. I mean, I was saying it when Lamar Stevens and Delano Banton were getting minutes. Like as much as I loved and am rooting for Lamar Stevens, like it just felt like O'Shea could bring a little bit more with that athleticism and nose for rebounding, considering how well he's done it. And he gets 2 opportunities and look what happens. Like he's been very impressive in those 2 games. Jaylen Brown, we talked about. Awesome. Still 6 assists, no turnovers is, I mean, everything you've wanted from Jaylen Brown over the past X amount of seasons of him being the primary guy or one of the primary guys.
This is a day without Tatum where he had everybody paying attention to him. Not only from a viewership standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, he was, I mean, listen, I know they had 6 guys have 20 points today, but if you're the Kings, you're going into tonight like, hey, Jaylen Brown's going to be doing a whole lot. Let's play defense on him. And he handled that really well. He was efficient.
He had 3 dunks
cool jump
in the first quarter.
4. Yeah, he had the big one in the second half. I mean, I was very happy with Jaylen. And again, he's shown discipline, not only with like going into 1 million people, but also with shooting 1 million threes that might not be the best threes. So very good, very impressive from Jaylen. Keep it up.
Dunk was fucking
crazy
nuts.
dunk.
I think it was Josh Horford, Al Horford's brother, tweeted. He goes, Jaylen the best in-game dunker in the NBA? ? Kind of feels like that. He's just killing people this season. I feel like
dunk?
It's true. That's the case. I want to see a Pritchard dunk. I feel like heading into the season,
I want to see one too.
Jaylen Brown was either going to go one of 2 ways. It was going to be either I got my money, I deserve the shots, let me take the shots, or let me find my role in the offense, be super aggressive and make the right plays. And he's taken the second approach, and he has been phenomenal. Like, he's finding the correct balance of staying aggressive and attacking the paint while also making the right plays and looking for guys. Like, I've been so impressed with Jaylen Brown this season, because this is not like, as much as I wrote about it and said this was the next step, like I couldn't have imagined it going to this level, and it's been nuts.
Yeah, I mean, we both did some stuff on this. Like, I did the one at the beginning of the month because I was just like, damn, like he ruled against the Bucks, but was awful against the Magic, and he had impacts on the outcome of both those games. And ever since then, he has just been like, real shit. All right, yeah, I will impact the way this team plays. You bet, buddy. And again, like, I'm very impressed with his discipline. I don't know off the top of my head. I really don't want you to look it up, but I'd imagine that there is like a point to this. But I'd imagine his catch and shoot threes are a higher percentage than the off the dribble threes. And the reason why that's important is thinking back to the 7-game stretch where both him and Tatum have shot like around 31%, and the Celtics have been 6-1, and their two best scorers have been ass from three. You know what that says? Is they don't necessarily need to take threes. Those guys, their job is to put pressure on the defense. The rest of the guys, including them when they don't have the ball, are then responsible for catching and shooting if the team's going to be at its best.
Jaylen is shooting only 34.7% on catch and shoot threes. It does seem I do wonder if it's been up.
Wrong.
I do wonder if maybe he's been better over the last X amount of games. Nope, he's been
definitely
worse.
not. No,
Scratch
he's been worse. Yeah, fake
Uh,
stat. But I mean, he's still been
he's
like
not
solid.
taking them though. He's not like, I think the point stands that he's not taking a lot of threes this season. Like, I would hazard to guess that he is down on 3-point attempts total. Yeah, he took 7.3 last year. He's taking fewer threes than he has since the 2019-20 season. Like, that's significant.
That's fine. Like, I'm
yeah,
not
no, I agree.
anti-3. Like, I'm not anti. I've turned a corner. I'm progressive. I am pro 3, just not the dumb ones. So I don't need to see the superstars take the dumb ones.
Sure.
That's all. It's like they can take the catch shoot ones. I think that's the next step for the Celtics. Like, after watching like them play well, I think we're just rambling and we're tired at this point.
Definitely.
I truly think like Tatum and Brown do not need to be efficient or be taking a bulk of threes.
Okay.
What they do need to do is be ready when they are the recipient of a kick. That's it.
Yeah.
Or a swing. That's it. I
agree. I think that's it. Svi Mykhailiuk still has the wackest whistle in the league. Don't get it.
Good.
He also
actually
good hustle, but if that man's not getting 20 minutes a night, he ain't gonna make his threes. That's what I've learned. That's what we've learned, which is fine.
Fairness,
shout out Svi, or excuse me, shout out to Nimish Keita again as well. Lamar Stevens got in there. It is what it is. Shout out to Aaron Fox, who was just like fucking nasty.
Happy birthday.
He took 14 shots in the first half and 4 in the second half. Probably not the best plan if you're the Kings, but they were down by a lot.
Happy birthday from HBTC to you. We wish it was our birthday so we could party too. Hey. 26-point loss for your birthday.
Shout out Keon Ellis, who was a positive plus minus. And
Keon Ellis was the one, Jack, that I texted you about. Pritchard made a 3, and he just like literally put like his hands on his head. He's like, "Fuck, dude." He's just like, God damn it.
Find it. I'm gonna need to find it. Anyways, any final thoughts before we throw it back over to our?
No, dude, I'm mad tired.
All right, we'll get out of here. Thank y'all for. I was about to outro it. Let me throw it to our past selves. All right. Thank you to our future selves for going over the Celtics-Kings game. Hopefully, as Sam said, he's not mad. It was a fine recap. We'll have to see, I suppose, when we get there. But we're going to talk about a Bleacher Report article because I know that's exactly what we all want to talk about. Shout out Bleacher Report to keep the content flowing in the offseason. They put together an article with Zach Buckley of Bleacher Report saying one current free agent every team should go after, one current free agent that could help the team. And for the Celtics, they put Javonte Green, a former Celtic. Now, we don't have to necessarily go super in-depth regarding Javonte Green in particular. But what I will say is Javonte Green feels like the same player as O'Shea Brissett, just shorter, right? Like they do a lot of the similar things. Like maybe Javonte Green is a slightly better overall defender. Maybe he's a little bit better. Maybe he's a little bit more athletic, as crazy as that sounds, because O'Shea Brissett's crazy athletic. But what I wanted to ask and use this to talk about is, if the Celtics did target a free agent or a buyout guy or something, what are you looking for? And it's early in the season. It doesn't seem like they necessarily need anything right now. But if I had to press you and said, if you're looking to sign somebody on the buyout market or a free agent right now, who are you signing and what type of player?
I think the best answer to this, as we've talked to it at large depths now, is a guard that you can bring off the bench who can be a switchable defender and also make threes, which is not probably somebody you're going to get in any of those circumstances. But it is something that would add a new wrinkle to your team. I think that's the only thing you're missing. It's good to think about adding a guard that can give you a little bit more defense off the bench. Pritchard has been great, and he's really found his footing lately. He played well against the Warriors, but they didn't have him out there late in the game because they didn't want him to get picked on defensively, and they really could have used his shot making. Sam Hauser got a bulk of minutes later in the game, and he didn't make any threes yesterday. They could have used some extra looks for Pritchard. I think if they're able to find a defensive-minded guard that can give them a little bit of energy off the bench, it would be helpful. But I don't have a name for you. I can't be like, well, they have that guy. Are you going to say Javon Carter?
No, I'm going to say Chris Dunn.
Okay.
Providence.
Sure.
That's my guy.
Providence
Him or Javon Carter.
Over Marquette. Number 6 Marquette falls at the AMP, formerly known as the Dunk. So
it is the Dunk. It's the Dunkin' Donuts Center.
It is the Dunk.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take Javon Carter or Chris Dunn. Personally, I think I'd rather target that sort of switchable big 4-5 guy. I think that might be a bit more important in my eyes. Just an extra defensive boost, just an extra guy. That said, you kind of already have that in Brissett and Lamar Stevens, so maybe you do go defensive guard. Truly, it doesn't really feel to me like they need anything right now. Like, as much as the Warriors loss stung and as much as it sucked and there was tendencies, it wasn't a matter of personnel in that game. It was just a matter of them dropping the ball in the wrong spots. Like, I can't point to a specific spot on the roster and say they really lack in that position, right? Even their center depth, like Nemish Kade has been stepping up. Luke Cornett's a fine third string big. Like, they've got Lamar Stevens and O'Shea Brissett to provide them with some solid minutes. You know, Delano Banton's been fine when he's played. Like, they've got solid enough guys up and down the roster. So I don't know. Javonte Green would be cool because it's a former Celtic. I was all in on the Daniel Tice reunion when that was a slight possibility for a brief moment in time. But it just doesn't really feel like they need anything super bad right now. So I think they're fine where they're at, personally.
You know what, Jack? Is it it might be time for a vibes move.
What is the vibes? No, not Isaiah Thomas.
I'm not saying that it has to be Isaiah Thomas, but I do think there is a trend in what we've talked about in this discussion where we discussed the possibility of bringing Javonte Green back, Daniel Tice, even name dropping Isaiah Thomas. Perhaps Blake Griffin is still limber and can rejoin the team.
That I would be in on.
I would be in on that. Let's just kind of brainstorm for a second. Do we have more former Celtics out there that could be ready to hoop? I saw somebody be like, yo, bring back Malik Fitz. And I was like, sure. But also,
I'd bring back.
What are you going to get out of Malik Fitz? I'm for it. He was good vibes. He was the bench captain. He was hyping the boys up in the playoff run in 22. But I don't really know. I honestly can't even tell you what his skill set is. And he was I think he could shoot threes, but I don't know if he's played a lot of defense.
I'm all in on Blake. Love that idea. I definitely do that. I don't know. Did he ever technically play for the Celtics? I need to check before I say this.
He made a three I want to say at the end of the.
Not Fitz. I'm not talking about Fitz. Sorry. I'm talking to myself. This player, did Theo Pinson ever technically join the Celtics?
He might have got some garbage time. He was a part of the team.
He was okay, but he never actually played in the regular season, according to this. Theo Pinson would be the ultimate vibes. Theo Pinson is guy. He is vibes.
No longer a member of the Mavericks. I could see it. That would be sick.
That'd be cool.
Maybe you bring back Kemba. You just stick him there, and if you hang out, I mean, they
Blake
like
Griffin's.
Kemba.
Blake Griffin's the top of the top, though. That is it. I will say the funniest possible thing they could do. This would never ever in a million years happen. because this player would never do it. They should just sign Udonis Haslem and hope they play the Heat in the playoffs.
Just have him
bring
sitting
in.
there all
Yeah.
gray.
Now,
Well, they
Blake
could
Griffin
like
would
just
play.
like, I mean, Pierce has been hanging out. Just like give him a jersey and let him sit there. Put him in the game if you're up 30. Everyone would get hyped for that. Yeah, you have a
Griffin.
roster spot. Why
I
not?
like the Blake. I like the Blake play.
Blake
I
Griffin would
think
be a
that's
lot
the
of fun,
ultimate
man.
plan.
They all liked Blake last year. Why not?
That'd be electric. I hope they bring him in. That'd be
I
great.
think
mean, there are some.
and I don't think it's a team thing right now. I think it's a Blake Griffin thing.
I mean, there were some
Like, all
rumblings
the
at the start of the
reports.
season that like they would wait till mid-season to see if he'd be open to it. So getting there, maybe.
Celtics
I
just
see-
like hey,
hold
Blake,
out hope.
You want to play yet? And he's like, no.
Hold out hope. You don't even have to play. Just come hang out. Just come
Yeah,
chill.
just come hang out.
Would be very cool.
I'm telling you, I think they should do a raffle, and one guy, just random guy off the street, gets to join the team each game.
They just signed Tom Brady. Come on,
Do
Tom.
that. I mean,
bring some
like
dub.
seriously, like if you're the Celtics, charge like $50 and do like a big like global entry, and you can join the team, sit on the bench for a game, get a uniform. I mean, when your team is like as good as the Celtics are, even if you're not the Celtics, like let's just say the Utah Jazz were an absolute hoss, they should just bring in random guys to come hang out.
Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, could it really hurt the Pistons if they just brought in a random guy?
I just keep seeing the graphic that's like open tryouts with the Pistons logo on it on Twitter.
Tough. Very tough. All right.
Maybe you
Let's
bring
go
in
to the
Pete.
fucking Pete. Let's go to the email, see what y'all have to say. We have a decent amount of emails today to go over. So appreciate y'all for tuning in to come hang out with us. Let me put the Inpopnito on the screen as well. Here we go. First one. This is one we missed from last pod. Michael, we literally got this email 30 seconds after we stopped recording.
Yeah.
He's Michael Hilly, loyal listener. Potential deadline targets. Jack and Sam, hope you're both doing well. After reading the news that the Celtics are looking to upgrade their bench per Shams, I took a look at the 29 other rosters and made a list of potential reasonable, but probably not sexy trade targets the Celtics could go after. Let me know what you think. It's not terribly long. Also, I watched The Departed for the first time last night. It was amazing. I've never seen The Departed.
Yeah,
Shocker.
I was literally going to be like, have you seen The Departed, Jack? And I knew you were going to say no.
Mhm.
I've only seen it once, in fairness.
Now, we're going to semi-rapid fire to this because despite Michael saying it's not too terribly long, there are a hefty amount of names on this list. So we're
Funny.
we're going to rock through
Thank
it.
you for taking
All right.
the time, Mike.
Thank you. All right, number one, Zach Collins. Spurs aren't giving him up, and he makes too
Money
much
doesn't work.
money doesn't work. Spurs like him too much. He's a full-time starter this year. He's playing really well. I think he's averaging, let me see. He's averaging 13, 6, and 3.5, and he's
Good for
playing
him.
27 minutes tonight for the Spurs. They're not giving him up. So, sorry. 0-1. Charles Bassey, ACL out for the season, unfortunately. Sorry. Over
Maybe this is a favor trade. You're like, we'll like take him. Actually, I'm pretty sure they just waived him, didn't they? Or like send him to the G League or whatever. Kind of like what the Celtics did with Jay Scrub. Like they kind of
no.
keep Jay Scrub around, but he's not.
No,
on
I
the
don't think
team.
so because he's on a standard deal. Charles
Okay.
Bassey. So, but he is out for the season, unfortunately. Simone Fontecchio. Now, I am in on this only because it would be super cool to have Simone on the team.
Just for your name purposes.
Yes, that's it.
I
That's
don't
all
even
want.
know who this person is. So
And in Michael's defense, unbeknownst to me, Simone Fontecchio is playing 20 minutes a night this year, 8.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 44, 38.6 splits. Actually having a good season. He plays in Utah. He's 6'8". He's a shooter.
okay.
Actually don't hate it. He's actually playing well this season. He's a bigger body. He's effectively Sam Hauser, like to be honest. So you don't
Okay.
need it.
I think me
But it
being
w-
dumb like does help like the explanation of this to a listener because like you have to explain it to me like I'm a child, so they also get informed.
Would be very cool to have Simone on the team, though. I will say, I was hoping that Simone Fontecchio's entrance into the NBA would make it so I could choose my actual last name in 2K. Unfortunately, it's just first
Okay.
name still.
Well, you know what? Like you think it would be fun to have a Simone on the team, but having a Sam on the team isn't fun because when he sucks, everyone's like, "Damn, like Sam's fucking terrible today." So when it's like, "Wow, Simone can't hit the side of a barn," you're like, "Damn, dude, that's mean."
Nah, I think it'd be cool. Simone is an uncommon enough name where I want the recognition. Lonnie Walker the fourth.
What's the
They're
contract?
not trading him. A minimum. He's on a minimum.
Minimum?
Mhm. He's
The Nets have no
averaging
reason to suck. That's the hang up.
He's also averaging 14.5, 2.5, 1.5 on 49, 46 splits.
Go
Shooting
get him.
46% from deep on 5.5 attempts a game. I just don't think they're trading him for what the Celtics would be willing to give up. So, I mean, I like the idea, but I don't
That's
think
a new
so.
name. That's like a Christmas list name. It's like maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. But I'd be curious. I don't think the Nets have a reason to like kind of settle this season because they don't have their own pick. So they're not going to be like,
Yeah.
well, we're not going to win the title anyway.
It'd
No,
also
what
be a
they're going to
one-year
do is
rental.
try their best.
It'd also be a one-year rental. So, like,
That's all right.
I don't know. Jalen McDaniels. Yeah, we talked about this in the last
We
pod.
name drop 10.
Wouldn't hate it. It's fine. I think we name drop the next guy too because I can see it a
Yep.
little bit peeking out. Otto Porter Jr., another guy. Sure. Fine with both of these guys. I think they could be TPE targets. Torrey Craig, again, talked about last pod. Shout
He may
out.
be the
Great
winner.
minds. I love Torrey Craig. I love that idea. I think he'd be great. The list of what we, and it's funny because you definitely didn't hear the last pod when you put this on here
Unless
because
he
it
was in
wasn't
the
out
room
yet.
with us.
So, yep, in on all those. Isaiah Jackson, I don't think the Pacers are going to trade him. He's been playing really well lately. He's also on a minimum contract. I just don't think the Pacers will give him up.
He is a
playing
good
too
hustle
well.
energy guy, though. Like if the Celtics were to get him, I could see why it would work, and
Yeah.
why they would go out and make the move. He's a little bit smaller. He's athletic, so he can kind of move a little bit.
He's had a string of monster games lately, 15 and 4, 12 and 4, 20 and 13, 9 and 3, 10 and 5, 11 and 6. Like he's been playing really well. I don't think Indiana's in a rush to give him up. Next one, Jalen Smith. Again, don't think Indiana's in a rush to give him up. He's been hurt for most of the season. He's been out for a while, but he was killing it for them before he went out. Yeah, he's played in only 14 games this year, and he hasn't played in a game since November 27th. But up to that point, he was averaging 10, 5.5 on 71, 68, or 67 splits. He wasn't missing too many shots there. So don't know if they'd give him
up the farm.
Poku, Aleksej Pokusevski. I guess I don't hate this. It's not the worst idea. He's only played in 7 games this year on 18-12 splits. So I don't know. That's exactly what
Could only
you
get
want.
better. Reclamation project. Let's go.
I suppose. I don't hate it. It's whatever.
Only cost you a second.
Yeah, he's not going to play is the thing. Like anybody on the Thunder. I don't know if they're
good target.
I don't know how much they're willing to trade like bottom end pieces for nothing anymore. Like, they feel like a team that could be wanting to win. No,
they definitely want to win.
Jabari Walker, I don't hate it. Sam, do you know who Jabari Walker is?
I don't.
He's on the Trailblazers. He's 6'9". He's a big body defender. Think bigger Lamar Stevens, effectively.
Okay. Don't hate it.
He's averaging 7.3 points, 4.8 rebounds. He's only 21 years old. He's playing 17.5 minutes for them this year. He feels like a guy they'll probably want to keep into the fold, but maybe if you really want to give up a couple seconds, see if they bite. I don't hate it. I like Jabari Walker coming out of the draft a couple years ago, so I think it'd be all right, but meh, it's fine. He is a large man though. Like that is the biggest thing to know about Jabari Walker. Also went to Colorado, so handshake Derrick White. But
you know who they need to get, Kenneth Lofton Jr.
No.
Speaking of big boys.
No. Sadiq Bey, I don't think the Hawks would give him up. He's averaging 13, 6, and 1.5 on 47, 35 splits and playing 32 minutes a night. Don't know if you're going to get him for the price point you're looking for. Only way I could see
on that one.
Yeah. The only way I could see it potentially becoming a even semi-realistic possibility is if the Celtics get in and say, hey, third team trade, you need to give up some salary. Sadiq Bey is making enough to fit in the TPE, but you also need to send out money to make this money work for Pascal Siakam. We'll take him for a first round pick. There you go. That's the only way I think it's possible. Is that possible? Maybe. And I wouldn't hate it. I think Sadiq Bey is a good player. He's a bigger guy. At the same time, though, I don't know if he necessarily fits super well into what the Celtics are doing. So I'm like, meh, it's fine. But
yeah, it's just like, is he better than Hauser? No. That's really what it comes down to. Or is he that different? Not really.
Yeah.
You mentioned Nick Richards.
Nick Richards, and if anything, Sadiq Bey needs the ball in his hands too much. But Nick Richards, another guy we talked about in the last pod. I think he'd be fine. He's under contract. He's a tradable contract for a few years. JT Thor, good player. He's a good defender. He hasn't really figured it out in the league yet. He's on the Hornets. I don't know how much run he's getting this season. Yeah, he's averaging 3 and 3 on 37-29 splits. He hasn't figured out his shot ever. He's a career sub 40% shooter.
I joked about Poku, but like the Celtics really don't need like a project right now. Like what they need is somebody that can fill the gap. Whatever gap they decide that they have, we haven't necessarily figured it out. The only gap they have is the one between their ears sometimes. You know what I'm saying? They're dumb. But like from a rotation standpoint, there really aren't that many guys you could be like, or like places you're like, oh, they need a guy there. Because it just doesn't feel like they could use an upgrade. Like no one that we can talk about can realistically like bump Sam Hauser. Like I think the most fun thing to talk about is wing guys, but none of them are bumping Hauser, and I don't know if Joe's going to really extend the rotation too far past 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Sorry,
or 9.
Jason Tatum is not playing tonight.
For
the Celtics, just tweeting that out. Okay. Yep. Next guy on the list is Chuma Okeke, another guy we did in fact talk about on the pod. I wouldn't hate it. It just like, is he that much better than the guys they have? No. So like, what's the point at that point? Like, it's whatever, unless they really like him. Denny Avdia, I don't think they're going to be giving up Denny Avdia. I also think he's poison pilled, so it's really impossible to get him because he signed an extension. So I don't think that's realistically a possibility because of the poison pill. Unfortunately, because Denny Avdia is a fine player. Anthony Gill. Anthony Gill is the player you name to prove that you just know a million NBA players because no one knows who Anthony Gill is.
I don't.
I
certainly don't.
He's been on the Wizards for a few years. He's 6'7". He doesn't really do much. He doesn't shoot threes. He's an okay defender. He's averaging 2 and 1.5. He's just kind of there, to be honest. I don't know why he's still on a contract.
Have you seen the I Think You Should Leave where Tim Robinson is hosting the game show and they have the Chunky mascot and the mascot doesn't know what it does and he's like flipping out the mascot. He's like, figure out what you do. He's screaming at it because it just keeps like fumbling around. It doesn't know. So it sounds like that's Anthony Gill. Figure out what you do, Anthony Gill.
Yeah, sure. That tracks. Corey Kispert.
I think they like him too much.
Yeah, they're not trading Corey Kispert. I mean, he's averaging 11, 2 and 1.5 on 45-38 splits, and he's a solid defender. Unless it's the case of, all right, we'll give you 2 first-round picks for Corey Kispert, sort of like the Derrick White trade a couple years ago, where they were like, all right, we'll give you all this for Derrick White because we think he really, really fits. Like if they think Corey Kispert's the final straw, the final piece, sure, but he also needs an extension in a couple years. You also already have Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard. Like you don't really need Corey Kispert. Not enough to go all in on that. Tari Eason, another guy where the Rockets just aren't going to trade Tari Eason. Unfortunately, I mean, he's averaging 9, 7, and 1 on 48 or 47, 42 splits.
It's hard. It's hard to go through and like pick out guys that are both worth the time in consideration and also would be available. Mm-hmm. So big respect for Mike for actually trying. He's done more than me on this front.
I'm not crapping on you. I'm just saying I don't think that's a realistic one. Aaron Holiday is a maybe, I guess. He's 27 at this point, which is crazy. I didn't think he was that old. Averaging 7, 2 and 2 on 46-31 splits. Actually playing really well this season in his limited minutes. Maybe if they tossed a couple seconds, you bring him in as an extra guard. Holiday connection. I don't actually hate that idea if they're willing. Like that's
a
fine
big culture thing. Celtics show respect for family. Good for them.
Jock Londale, another big guy. I mean, I think if you put a Venn diagram, Jock Londale, Luke Cornett, same shit.
Like one circle.
Yeah, it's not going to do much. Jock Landale's playing worse than Luke Cornett this season. He's averaging 1.5 and 1.5 on 36% shooting as a big man. Probably not great. Tough. Probably don't really want it. Yeah, not ideal. Jay Sean Tate, I don't hate it. No rhyme intended. It's fine. He's averaging 5 and 3 on good splits. He's not really playing a ton. He's averaging like 18 minutes, which is his fewest of his career. He's it's fine. Like I just don't know how much extra he brings to the table. And that's the problem with most of these guys. Like John Conchar, fine. Najee Marshall. I actually really like Najee Marshall, so I wouldn't hate that one. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, fine, but like most of these guys you can look at and say, are they better than Sam Hauser? No. Are they better than Lamar Stevens? Maybe. And that's all that really matters. Like like I'm not saying like it's a bad list. This is just the reality of where the Celtics are at. They're not in a position to make any big swings. That said, if you wanted really my favorite, like who I like most off this list, Torrey Craig,
Torrey Craig's
Aaron Holiday, and Najee Marshall. I'll give you
What about
those.
the guy
Those
from
are
Utah?
my favorites.
Simone
Fontecchio is fine too, just for the name. And add Chris Dunn. Add Chris Dunn to the list. I like
Chris Dunn's a good one. I'm for that. I'm for it.
Yeah. All right, what's popping? Glass is always half full. This is from a couple days ago. Afternoon, guys. Just got done watching Monday's Talking Z's installment, and all the talk about rumored buyout guys are paying for post insurance. Yeah, I love alliteration. Got me thinking that I think Cornette's injury right now might be a blessing for the Celtics. The rest of the team is relatively healthy, so it allows Keita to a chance to get minutes with the regular bench guys in the Cornette rotation. If you look at what he did in Sunday's game against the Magic, he defended better without fouling, including guarding Cole Anthony out at the arc. Yes, Nemi is a work in progress, but given the Celtics let their other two-way big man, Nathan Knight, out of his contract with Andrew Peterson, I think the Celtics believe he is making progress. Additionally, I think pairing him with Peyton Pritchard will help him get more confidence with his low post game, as Pritchard is the Celtics' best guard at getting people the ball in their shooting pocket, whether that's Hauser for a three or a clean lob pass at the rim. So yeah, we go a week, maybe two, without the Green Cornet, except as the world's tallest cheerleader. But we not only learn what Keita can contribute, but give him a chance to grow his game. I told you I like alliteration. Be well. RJ, I love the alliteration. It makes it impossible for me to read this.
Also,
I'm
past
stumbling.
RJ. Wait till past RJ watches the Warriors game and sees Keita.
Maybe we have a new email. This is true. Yeah, Keita's been good. I like it. I still don't think he should necessarily pass.
This is a good take from RJ.
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily should pass Cornette in the rotation. I said this on the latest Talking C's, which should be up soon. But I think he should be used in some specific spots, which is good. So, yeah. Next, from Ryan Hall, Lamar Stevens. Is it me, or would Lamar fit well playing the Grant Williams role we are so desperately looking for? He can knock down the three ball, so you have to respect it. Well, he's a very good defender with a big body that won't get bullied, and he is great at making shots around the rim. Sneaky good mid-range with explosive dunks. On top of that, he has soft hands around the rim. I think you could get him to play more with our first team boys to at least see what we have. Thoughts? Keep up the good works, Ryan H. Thank you, Ryan, for the email. Ryan. This was about a day ago. We mentioned this at the start of the season that he could potentially play the role. Unfortunately, Lamar Stevens is not even in the same like atmosphere as Grant Williams is a 3-point shooter, and that's really what it comes down to. Like it's just it's not even close.
He hasn't got much opportunity to prove himself, in fairness to Lamar Stevens. He has also been somebody throughout his career that's improved every single season shooting threes, technically as this year, because he's shooting 33% compared to 31% last year. But he's definitely not consistent enough to be on that Grant Williams level, like you're saying. But there is a chance, like if he got more run, he could get like a rhythm and make threes. It's just right now, what evidence we have is not enough for Missoula to give him the extra opportunity unless it's like completely necessary.
He's also never shown that he can be consistent as much as he has, quote, improved. He shot like less than 2 a year every year. So like, it's not like he's ever going to be or has been a guy to take threes. True. So it's just as much as I'd like to have him in that role, it's just not really built the same. They're not built the same. Next, RJ. This is from 21 hours ago before the Warriors game. Let's pop in and toast to good health. Afternoon, guys. Looking forward to tonight's game against the Warriors, and I thought I'd put something that's been on, point out something that's been on our side so far. Good health. God, knock on wood. What are you doing?
Well, it does. It's too late now. Tatum's already out.
Good health. Yes, I know KP had his week off and Luke is recovering for another week or so, but that's been it. Compare that to last year when Rob missed more than half the season. At the 25 game mark, Brogdon was out 5 games, Marcus 3, Al had missed 5 because of the shoulder. Knock on wood. Well, it's too late. Do you think that Coach Missoula will use some of the upcoming softballs and meatballs to schedule on the schedule, like Detroit, Toronto, San Antonio, Utah, to, if not outright sit some guys, at least get more playing time for deeper bench players, both to reward them and manage minutes for the starters? Be well and stay well, RJ. well, now that Tatum's out, other guys will definitely have a chance to step up. And I do think he might give those guys some chances moving forward. I think he uses injury absences to do that, and I think we've seen that so far.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics certainly have enough guys at the wing spot that they can try today, right?
Yeah.
Like Brissett, who actually played well yesterday against the Warriors. I'm kind of surprised he didn't get back in the game. Mikhailo, Lamar Stevens, even. I'm sure Hauser's going to start. But yeah, sucks that Tatum got hurt. Bad timing.
Definitely. All right. What's popping? I'm okay with the Warriors game. This is after the Warriors game. Oof. Evening, guys. Sorry, Sam, for the OT loss. I know you hate those especially, but I'm not looking at this as doom and gloom. It's a loss, but it didn't surprise me the way the Celtics were not getting threes to drop. They weren't forcing them. They were good looks. They just didn't fall. Celtics didn't look panicked either. My complaint was the last shot at the end of regulation. Of all the times to use the timeout and run the ATO play, that was it. No need to, quote, let them figure it out. Use the time to strategize for a good look. I like Nemi's play tonight. Got to give him some love, and Sam will find a stroke again. We'll be well. We'll be okay. Be well, RJ. I agree with most of the points you made. I just think it was the defense that was the biggest problem, and we've talked about that a million times now.
Yeah, it's just like 2 stops in the last 7 minutes is not good enough. And to RJ's point, like the offense was good. Like they matched every single big shot the Warriors made in the fourth quarter. It just wasn't enough when you just never stop them. Like the Celtics played just about, I don't know, I wouldn't say just about as good as they could, because if they did, they would win. But they played a damn good offensive game in the fourth quarter. They just got outplayed by the Warriors, who made more shots because the defense wasn't tight enough. Like, that's where they lost the game. I hated the last shot. I'm mad as hell about it. I'm glad Tatum's going to have some time to sit around and think about what he did tonight. But I don't think, like, to your point, like, blaming the threes as a whole is not the answer yesterday. The defense is
definitely
the issue.
I agree. Last email we have from Matt Souza. The Warriors didn't win that game. The Celtics lost it. Wow. Talk about the flip-flop. Something about the Warriors. They just have the Celtics mentally beat. We can never put them away. An 11-point lead isn't enough against them. Maybe this is a different game with Porzingis, but they didn't have Draymond. I mean, maybe they should have played him instead Horford, because the Warriors have beaten that core a lot. I mean, how many wide open shots did we miss? Tatum didn't show up at all. Just kind of an embarrassing game, in my opinion. We really let this one go, and it gave me the last 2 years Celtics vibes. Let's hope this isn't the start of a downward spiral like last year. I can't stand when Tatum just dribbles out the clock, jacks up highly contested 33% three-point shot instead of getting the team involved. Someone needs to grow some stones and say something. On a positive note, how about Queta? He might have Cornette beat in the rotation if he continues to play well, and if the Celtics are open to changing that regard. O'Shea also playing great. Sorry about the length. Just so frustrating to watch them slowly lose the lead. It was so predictable from Matt. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about all of this. Thank you, Matt.
It's funny. Matt had a different perspective than RJ. Like, he was definitely on the upset side, but he didn't say anything outrageous. Like, he was right. Like, the wide open threes missing sucked. Tatum, 5 of 17, bad game from him. And he did throw in some positives at the end. So good for Matt.
Yeah. There you go.
That is kind of the correct way to be angry, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank y'all for the emails. We appreciate it very much. Let's go on over to the NBA section and start with, did the Pistons win a game? I don't know if the Pistons have played since the last time we've talked, but have the Pistons won a game? No.
No, they have not.
The answer is no. They haven't played. They've still lost only 24 in a row. So they are playing
They don't play tonight. I think they play tomorrow on Thursday when you're hearing this.
2-day gap
play
for
Utah.
them. Play the Jazz. Pistons have not won. Outside of that, some recent results. The Sixers finally lost a game after their long win streak. They lost to the Chicago Bulls the other night. They lost to Kobe White, who has been playing out of his fucking mind. And just in spite of 40 from Embiid and 29 from Maxey, nobody else had 10. Outside of that, Bulls, Raptors, and Hawks all won their last games. Cavs have now won 2 in a row. Knicks 1 in a row. And the top of the East is slowly fading a little bit as the Celtics, Sixers, and Magic are on 1 or 2 game losing streaks. Bucks, however, have won 5 in a row. They're still up there. Pacers lost 4 in a row. Nets lost 3 in a row. Those two are slowly falling.
4 and 6 in their last 10. That is brutal. One good thing I'll say about the Celtics is they're still 8-2 in their last 10. So they are still amongst the elite. Good for them. Continue. Sorry.
Speaking of the elite, Timberwolves and Clippers both 9-1 in their last 10 games. So slowly climbing up there. Clippers have now won 8 in a row. Celtics have them on Saturday. Timberwolves 3 in a row, Thunder 2 in a row, Nuggets 1, Kings 3. Top of the West is thriving. Mavericks they've lost 1 in a row, but they're still 6-4 in their last 10. Teams at the bottom: Grizzlies 1, Jazz 1, Trailblazers 1. Blazers beat the Suns the other night. Suns are now 3-7 in their last 10 games. Definitely not where they want to be.
Big three no longer back. They're back for like half a game.
Yeah, no, they're cooked. Warriors, as they just beat the Celtics, have now won 3 in a row, but they are still 5-5 in their last 10 games. Lakers, Rockets, also 5-5 in their last 10. So there is that. Pelicans 7-3 in their last 10, though, turning things around, slowly climbing up. So there you go.
The West has turned out to be just about as crazy as we've thought. Like, first and 8th place that are only separated by 6 games. Please be more in the East. 6.5 in the East. So it was a little bit more spaced out in the Eastern Conference. But there are a ton of teams like right next to each other. Just to put it in perspective, Dallas through Phoenix is only separated by 2.5 games. 2 games between 5 and 9 rather. They've just had so much up and down amongst all of these teams. Like you said, Pelicans 7-3 all of a sudden. Meanwhile, Suns 3-7. Like, both of those teams are teams that people saw in the playoffs. I thought the Pelicans would be in there. And good for them. I mean, they're building a little bit of something in New Orleans now. Zion's able to be on the court every once in a while. They're starting to look like they've got a team around them, except for when they played the Lakers, of course, right? They didn't show up in the in-season tournament.
They're slowly figuring it out. They're getting up there. Next NBA thing we have is Zach LaVine update, because apparently Zach LaVine to the Lakers has some real legs. Darnell Mayberry of The Athletic, I was talking to Jovan Buha of The Athletic, and Mayberry said, all signs are pointing to these teams eventually finding common ground on a deal that works for both sides. This is the Lakers and the Bulls. The fit as trade partners was apparent before, but this season has progressed. It seems imperative they come together to trade. So it sounds like the Bulls, Lakers, LaVine trade has some real legs and could almost be, it almost sounds like he expects it to happen at some point. So
yeah, it does sound that way. I don't like it seems imperative that they come together, because that kind of means like it feels like they have to. And like, I don't like the feeling that teams have to give the Lakers what they want, because it's been that way for a little while.
Would this make the Lakers better? Question.
It might. At the top, it does. It gives them like a more like speedy, dynamic option to kind of handle the ball. You know,
are you talking positive about Zach LaVine? What are you doing? What are we doing?
I still think he sucks, but I don't know. Like, it might be easier for him.
Sam. So now we know. In case listeners were wondering, Sam's hatred for the Lakers getting pieces is greater than his hatred for Zach LaVine.
It sure is. I hate when the Lakers get free stuff. You know, they're just going to give up like Hashimura and D'Lo, and it's going to be like deal.
I think it'll be those two and picks. Yeah, to be honest.
What picks?
I don't know. I need to look.
They don't have any picks.
They do have
one pick.
Picks. Let me see. Pro sports transactions. I have to go see which picks they have now.
I think they have 29, and maybe like the new ones that they're now allowed to trade.
They can trade 29 freely, and I think 31 they can go out to. I'm not sure how that works. So I think they could potentially trade those two. They could also trade swaps in 5 and or 6, which I mean at that point could be useful. So
yeah, they
have some stuff to work with. They have some stuff to work with. I think it'd be a good fit for what it's worth. I think him and Davis would be a fine fit post LeBron era as well. I think he'd give them some shot creation. It makes sense. And I mean, if you're the Bulls, I mean, who else is trading for Zach LaVine? I think is the bigger thing. Plus, yeah, I mean, plus then you'd have, if I'm them, I try to flip D'Lo. I don't really want D'Lo. Rui Hachimura is a fine like test piece to run it 3 or 4 next to Pat Williams, so that's fine. But I don't think it's the end.
How long are those guys' contracts? I'm sorry, I'm asking you a lot of questions.
They both just.
I know they just signed.
They both just re-signed this summer. D'Lo is under contract for this season and then one more after. So 17 this year, 18.6 the year after.
Okay.
Rui Hachimura is 15.7 this year, then 17, and then 18.2. So this year, then 2 more.
So he's under contract a little while too.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, what if like buyout, but no. Not
happening. And for what it's worth, I believe the Bulls at one point, or they want Austin Reeves. it's not going to happen. They're not going to give up Austin Reeves is basically what the sentiment has been. So
sucks
there's
because
that.
they really don't have leverage. LaVine is kind of a negative asset. Nobody really wants him that bad.
Yeah, and
No,
he's
he
under
can
contract
help.
for 1 million years. So
Yeah,
no
he's
one wants
making
to
a
take him
ton of
on.
money for a long time, and he's not that good.
Mhm.
Tough to sell that.
Speaking of trades, apparently teams are checking in and want Jarrett Allen from the Cavaliers. This is from Jake Fisher, friend of the pod. He wrote, Allen remains high on that proverbial list, with 2 years remaining on a 5-year, $100 million contract that will draw and has drawn plenty of interest from playoff contenders like the Pelicans. League sources told Yahoo Sports. Like the fit for the Pels, get a big body in there. I would like it even more for the Grizzlies next to Jaren Jackson Jr. That seems like another team could do it. It makes sense that teams are in on Jarrett Allen, but I don't know like what it would be. Like, I don't think the Cavs would be itching to jump at a Jarrett Allen trade.
I think the Jarrett Allen thing only really has legs if Mitchell ends up out of there because their season is kind of up in the air. Garland and Mobley getting hurt for significant amounts of time is not ideal considering they didn't get off to a great start. Mitchell's only under contract, what? He has a player option next year or the year after? I think it's the year after.
Let me look. A lot of
we talked about
basketball
this
reference for
recently.
Jack today.
I'm
Donovan
sorry.
Mitchell this year, the year after, and then 37 player option
Yes.
25-26. Same as Tatum.
So their window on Donovan Mitchell is starting to kind of shut here too, because I don't know if that guy wants to be in Cleveland for a significant amount of time after being in Utah. There have been rumors of him wanting to play for the Knicks. Wendy said he expects the Heat to go after him. So if either of those teams are able to get anything done, the Cavs don't really have a purpose for Allen in the sense that he's going to help them win this year. They obviously have Garland and Mobley for a while, so they could keep him too. But if they really want to start scrapping stuff and just trying to collect more assets to rebuild or retool, then sure, Jarrett Allen could find himself on the move.
Yeah, I guess it's just a we'll see. He's averaging 13 and 8 and 2 on 67% shooting this year, averaging a block a night. Like, he's a quality player. He's on a good contract at 20 mil. It just doesn't. I don't know if they're in the market to make a trade right now. A trade like that, at least. DeMar DeRozan, meanwhile, with all the trade rumblings and all the Bulls stuff going on, remains committed to the Bulls. This is from Julia Poe of the Chicago Tribune. Quote, me being in the league so long, I understand this period of time. It just comes with the occupation. I really don't pay no mind to it. My priority is to be here, make this organization and team successful, and get through whatever tough stuff we're going through. In his defense, they are 6-3 in their last 9 games. They have been playing better. He's been playing well. Kobe White's been playing well. And you respect his mindset because he doubled down. This is something he said before the season too. You respect the mindset of, nah, I'm committed. I want to be here. Like, I'm good, which is where he's at right now.
Yeah, like, what's he going to say? Like, I think there is, like, something to him being a vet in the league where he's just like, whatever, dude. Like, I've competed at a high level. He's just trying to play ball. Like, I don't know. Respect. Like, I'm glad, like, you don't have more guys just being like, I don't want to be here. Trade me, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, I think the understanding is he's probably going to get traded. So there's no reason for him to, like, really have to be like, trade me, trade me, trade me, trade me.
Mm-hmm.
He can kind of ride it out and chill.
Yeah. I wonder. We'll have to see what happens. I'm unsure what they'll do with DeRozan. I think it'd be malpractice not to trade him and not extend him, but we'll see what happens. Last thing, Ja Morant is back from his suspension, dropped 34 points, including a game winner over the Pelicans in his first game back. And then after was asked about it, and he said, I'm a dog. It was just like,
he is a dog, dude.
I'm here. I'm that guy.
That's to be expected. How did you cope with that?
I'm a dog. I put work in, day out.
You know what's funny is Ja went 25 games without playing, yet he knew what to do with the game on the line, but Tatum didn't.
Yeah, I mean, Ja was awesome. He ended the game with I don't know.
They came back from like 24 down too.
Yeah, there was a big comeback. The Pelicans were up by a decent amount. Ja finished the game with 34 points, 6 and 8, 2 and 1, 12 of 24. He led the way for them. He was awesome. The Pelicans, struggled a little bit. Zion had 13 on 5 of 12. This is what a game. Good for Ja Morant. Like, nice to see him come back. Nice to see him pop off like that. It was fun. I mean, just see him get hyped. Like it was
No,
like
I mean I'm
good
happy
for him.
for him. The suspension might have been like a little bit too long. I don't remember what your
Mm.
stance on it was, but like essentially I didn't feel bad because it was like, hey, don't do this one thing, and then he did it again.
Yeah.
But like in a vacuum, 25 games is a long time for that. So he probably feels like he was slighted, and he probably came in with a chip on his shoulder. So good for him for having a really good game in his debut. And you know, as much as we talked about, hey, the Grizzlies should tank, I am rooting for them to compete. Like, obviously, Marcus is there now. Like, I want to see him not suffer. So, if they're able to play competitive basketball, more power to them. Like, I hope they do well.
I agree. All right, let's go to the rat list here. Would you like to kick it off?
How many you got?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna make it up on the
Okay.
fly. I didn't put anything in. I have no idea.
Okay, so this can kind of be like a transitioner from the NBA section. Ratless the dog at the Lakers game. The Lakers
No.
raised their banner on Monday night for the in-season tournament, and they had a dog sitting courtside. Apparently, it was a celebrity dog.
It's a famous dog. Yeah.
I hate that with every ounce of my being
Why? No. Genuinely, why?
because it's just ridiculous.
But why? But why do you? Why?
Well,
Like
for first and foremost, that's a seat that could have went to somebody.
this is prime Sam hates for no reason. This is like the
It
top. Like
is.
this is a perfect example of like there's no reason to hate it. You just hate it for the sake of hating it. You hate it because
it's
people like it.
ridiculous. Like it's just
This
dumb.
is this is something Sam hates because people like.
That's
That's
true, but I still hate
crazy.
it.
That's fucking insane.
I guess if you want to like really tight in, Ratless to the Lakers for giving up a seat for the dog.
It's
A dog
crazy
that
to
is
hate,
very
man.
clearly well trained, but still like there is like some probability that it runs out on the court or pees or something in the court side. Like kind of wild to just have an animal in the front row.
It didn't have a seat, by the way. It was just with the fan under the seat.
Was it like is it an emotional support dog? Am I gonna get in trouble now?
No, it's just his dog. It's
Just a
like
celebrity dog.
famous on TikTok. Yeah, it didn't have its own seat though. It was
I
just
kind of
chilling
hate
with
that a
the fan.
dog is more famous than we are too. So there's that.
I don't get the hate. I think it was
Of course
cute.
you
I
don't.
like the dog.
You're
Well,
the bubbly like happy guy, and I'm the miserable guy. That's part of
because
the
there's
reason
no
why we
reason to hate
vibe.
it. It's a fucking dog. Like there's genuinely no reason you have to hate it. You're just hating it
Jay
because other
King didn't
people
like it.
enjoyed
Jay
it.
King tweeted about it. He said it was ridiculous too.
He's equally as hater for no reason. That
Good for
doesn't
him.
mean you're correct.
He's a
'cause
dog.
Jay
That's
said it
why.
too.
With a W, not an
Nah,
O.
it's some loser shit.
He's me and Jay are like the Ja Morant dog, not like this stupid
No.
dog in the seat courtside.
Nah, that's lame. Dog was fine. Dog did nothing wrong. I defend the dog.
Maybe the dog is not the Ratless, but the Lakers are, which is always fine.
Sure.
We need to find
Um,
common ground because this is a ridiculous occurrence.
I don't
Nonetheless,
have common ground. I just don't like. It doesn't matter. Like I just don't care. I don't have an opinion. I think it's dog's cool. Whatever.
people like dogs too much too. There you go. There's
Loser.
your Sam hates things because
Loser.
people like them.
You're
I do.
dumb.
I think people like dogs too
I
much.
don't get it. I don't get the unmitigated hate.
People will not like that in the comments. They'll be like,
No,
"You're a hater."
because there's no reason for it.
I get away with a lot of things, but hating on dogs is where they will draw the line, which
like
is
one of the
only
few
furthering my
things-
point.
It's like one of the few things that are like pretty universally loved. Like, yeah, dogs are awesome. Love dogs. And you're just like, nah.
Because people
i-
like them too
if
much. They're like, hey,
over-
look at my dog. It's like, I don't
If
care.
over 60% of the population like something, Sam is just going to hate it for the sake of it.
I
That's
wonder if
just the
6
general
is the
rule.
number. It's like closer to 65, 70.
Nah, it's you're pretty loose with your hate. You just hate everything for the sake of
Well,
it.
at least I'm fair. Like, I spread it around.
That's fair is not the correct word. It's just hating a lot. Like I don't think fair is the correct terminology.
Sure
there.
is. It's not like I'm leaving anybody out. Like, even the Celtics. Like, I hate them. Hated them yesterday. They were terrible. They belong on the rat list for making me stay up.
I had something. Well, it's not as much of a rat list as more of it is a story. So I hadn't done all of my Christmas shopping like as of 2 days ago. And then what night? So today is Wednesday. So like Monday night, I think I just stayed up and did all of my shopping. Like I did everybody's stuff online. I ordered it and anti-rat list all going to get here in time.
W by you.
Very excited. A couple things I had to pay like express shipping a little bit, but the express shipping wasn't actually that bad. So like
Sometimes you just pay the express shipping. Like,
Yeah.
one thing about being an adult with like a decent job and like not having a lot of responsibilities at this point, which you don't really have it either, is you can kind of like indulge in luxurious things like express shipping, and it rules. It does rule. But go on.
Yeah, no, that was it. I was just hyped that I got it done. I was hyped that I got all the shopping in. I got stuff for mom, dad, stepdad, sister, brother, covered all my bases, feeling pretty all right. I'm like, cool. It's good. This is a good feeling. Love to see it.
So, Ratless,
Anti-rat list. But yeah.
Ratless, this waiter. I went out to dinner with my girlfriend yesterday. The food was excellent, by the way. It was not a girlfriend activity. Who doesn't love dinner, right? And the entire time, this waiter was relentless in trying to upsell me. We sit down. He's like, "Do you guys want anything to drink? Here's like the drink menu, which is standard." We're both like, "Oh, like we'll have waters." He comes back and he's like, "Oh, did you guys decide any drinks?" And like, we're like, "No, we're ready to order." So we both like got the same thing. And he tried to ask, I didn't hear this part, but he asked if we wanted to upgrade our fries. Upgrade them to like, also, I don't really think premium fries are very good for like what it's worth. Like when they start putting shit on the fries, I'm out on that.
I like truffle fries. The truffle.
I think
like,
that's what it was. But even that, it's like, like whatever.
I enjoy
I don't
it.
hate it. I do hate when they put like the nacho cheese on the fries. If you
Mm.
melt the cheese, if you have shredded cheese and you melt it, it's different. But if you just like put like the liquid cheese on, it's nasty and it makes them soggy. But so he tried to get us to upgrade the fries. He's tried to get us to buy drinks twice. And then as we were wrapping the order, he asked my girlfriend if she would like a Coke or something with the just so we'll pay for a soda. Like, how many things? It's like a $2 upcharge. Like if like she gets a Coke, like what is that? 20%. So you're gonna get 40 cents out of that tip. That's the extra you're like really fighting for there, King. And then, anyways, we get our food. It was good. We eat the food, and my girlfriend, because she's not an adult, not literally, cannot finish the food. I always say, be an adult, finish your food. I swear to God, I'm not Josh Giddey. Allegedly. And she asked for a box. He's like, I'm assuming you don't have room for dessert because you asked for the box. But then he brings over the dessert menu anyway. And he gives us time with the dessert menu instead of just bringing the check. We're not getting dessert. The dessert menu was not overly impressive. Please bring me my check so I can leave. I also had to get back because we had a show yesterday at 9:30. Yeah. And like we had like other things. I think we went to the mall. By the way, Champ Sports Outlet, Providence Place, great deals. But I was like, buddy, like I don't want to buy anything else. Like we got what we wanted. Just knock it off. There's an episode of Atlanta where Donald Glover's character takes out his ex. Like he's trying to like re-woo her, win her over or whatever. And he's like broke. This is the first season. So he's out. And this guy, the waiter's relentlessly trying to upsell him. It is hysterical. He's got like $38 to his name. And he's like, he's stressing every time this man's like, would you like a bottle of wine? And she's like, yeah, I would like a bottle of wine. He's like, what the fuck, man? Like, quit trying to upsell me. It's a great scene. Do you have anything else or should I just...
I'll do one more. This can be not serious ratless court, but it can be funny, like haha ratless court. So my sister's boyfriend is in the National Guard, and so he's been away, but he was coming back for like the holidays, right? And so he was supposed to come in Thursday, but he texts me. He goes, Jack, I'm getting in early. I want to surprise Grace. And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll help. Whatever. So text me. He goes, I'll be, my flight gets in at 10. My friend's picking me up. My sister was working overnight because she's a nurse, or she's in nursing school, whatever. So she was coming back. He goes, I'll let her nap and then I'll come figure it out. And so I wake up, I text him like, okay, I'm good, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then Grace comes to me and she goes, I'm mad at Zach right now because he's home and he hasn't texted me. I'm like, and I'm playing dumb at that point. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she goes, well, he's supposed to, I was like, when is he supposed to be home? And she goes, Thursday, but he's home. I'm like, how do you know he's home? Like, what are you talking about? And she goes, he left his location on. And at that point, I'm like, he left his fucking location on, this fucking dumb
man's an idiot, bro.
He left his location on. And then She goes out with her friend. She comes back and she goes, Jack, you're on the rat list for not telling me. I said, I'm not on the rat list for not telling you. You're on the rat list for checking his location and ruining his surprise.
Kind of
You
agree with
fucking
that.
rat.
I
So-
think you're right. Like he asked you to
Yeah.
you were trying to do a nice thing for your sister. And I'm not really sure what I think of the location stuff
out
as
on
is.
location stuff. I don't
Like
like it.
I think it's a
weird.
nice sentiment, especially if you want to like just kind of check in and make sure the person's all right. But like
Yeah.
also like, do we really need to know where everyone is always?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
My sister wasn't actually mad. She was like laughing, haha, mad. But it was just like, it was a
Yeah, but
funny
like she
interaction.
ruined the surprise for herself. It could have been a nice thing.
Mhm. She did do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Could have been like
rat
one of
list
those
is-
emotional, like when they come back videos.
Kinda.
I don't think so.
No. All right. That's all I got. You can finish.
All right. So rat list, I don't really know who's in charge of this construction, but there's construction being done on the bike path near my house. Now, they are not actually doing construction on the bike path. And the bike path is important because every day or the days I run, I start on the bike path. The bike path goes up towards and around the beach area, and it leads to a main road. So I need that to connect to part of my route. They are doing construction on a playground, and they have removed the playground. But the bike path hasn't been touched, but they have it fenced off. So I've had to run through the sand, which is not easy. And it's a bad tone setter for the run. It's one of those mental things. It's like my legs are going to be extra tired if I have to do this. And then jump a wall to get back to the regular road.
Mhm.
Why do you have to close the bike path? Like, I don't know if you've ever seen anybody ever do construction, but like, they're never really working that hard either. Like, as a pedestrian, like, I can very easily maneuver around to stay out of their way.
Sure.
Just open the bike path. Make it easy for everyone. I don't even know why you have to tear down the playground. I mean, it's fine. It was there. Maybe they're making a new one. I hope they are. Also, like, not really a rat list, but it is a funny story. I'm in the car with my girlfriend yesterday, and she's playing Nicki Minaj. And there's a line in the song where Nicki Minaj, and I don't know when this song came out, and I don't know what song it is, but she name drops Karl Malone.
Okay. In what context?
She said something about like the Post, like Post play or something like that. She mentioned the
Okay.
Post.
Probably an old song, but yeah.
Yeah, but my girlfriend thought she was talking about Post Malone. And I was like, no, like, do you know who Karl Malone is? And she said no. So she learned something new yesterday. I said, Karl Malone is this now third all-time leading scorer in the NBA.
Well, she did do both. I found the lyric. Big truck, but I'm alone at the post, though, like Post Malone. Call Malone and tell him I'm going postal, like mailman. So
Yeah, the mailman.
hit him with the 1-2, with the post and below. But did you then explain to her the other
Yeah,
background?
Karl Malone impregnated a 13-year-old.
Yeah, but she probably wasn't too pleased at the
No,
reference
she was
anymore.
She was like, "Oh, that sucks."
Yeah,
She was like,
it's
"That's
not-
disgusting."
Yeah, that's we denounce Karl Malone on this podcast, not Karl Malone. No.
Can't co-sign that behavior. No, I cannot. Shame.
No, shame to Karl Malone.
That is whack.
That is a word.
That's not even one where like I'm not saying any of it's okay, but like sometimes you're like, oh, like maybe he could have made a mistake. No.
No.
Oh man, that's terrible. All right.
All right,
Sorry if
that's all
that
you got?
ruined the tone, but I thought it was funny that was I got to educate her on
It's funny.
that disgusting piece
That's
of
like the time
information.
I had to well, not the exactly disgusting part. It's like the time I had to educate my mom who didn't know that Donald Glover and Childish Gambino were the same
Completely
person.
different.
So funny. She was like, "Wait, no, that's the guy from Atlanta. What are you talking?" I'm like, "Same dude."
You didn't ruin anything for her. You probably just like made Donald Glover way better because he ruled.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, that dude's great." My mom, who can
He
now
needs to make
sing
more
all,
music.
who can
No
all-
longer asking.
who can now sing all the lyrics to Bonfire. So
Good for your mom. That rules. I played my mom Redbone because I thought she would like it. My mom just doesn't like anything I show her.
Oh man! All right, thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to How About Them Celtics. Leave us a review on Apple and 5 stars on Spotify. Make sure to follow us on both platforms. Yeah, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate the listenership. Thank you very much. Send us an email, and I'll let Sam take us out.
Hey, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our uploads, whether it's these full-length pods, the game recaps, Talking C's with Bobby Kravitsky, which those are a lot of fun. You should check them out. Bobby's great, and he's very informative.
One just dropped.
One just dropped. You can also find film breakdowns, rumor breakdowns, and also the live streams before every game. We were live the last 2 days. We will be live at 3 o'clock on Saturday for the pregame show against the Clippers. So subscribe. If you want the audio versions of the full-length pods and the game recaps, they are on Spotify and Apple. So you can follow us there, leave a 5-star review, and say something nice. You can also reach out to us via email, hbtcpod@gmail.com. You saw everybody reaching out today. We appreciate it very much. We had some new people. I believe Ryan had never reached out to us before, or he talked to us about Zach Edey. I could be wrong. But Matt, I think, was a first-time emailer, even though he's always in the comments chopping it up. You can also find us on socials at How About Them C's. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. You can find the pregame streams there as well as YouTube. Also, leave a comment. Say what's popping to be entered into the Inpopnito giveaway, $10 to their website, and you can pick from over 60 flavors of popcorn. All of it is excellent. There's so much to choose from. I just destroyed my bag of dill pickle, and I have a few more bags waiting for me. You can follow Jack on Twitter at JackSimoneNBA. You can follow me at Sam LaFranceNBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe. Come on.